Afternoon. This is Beau from BEAU'D Not Broken. Welcome. Mario's here for his bishop's interview to go into the temple. So
that is not true at all.
All this, and he's doing quite well. We're through one of the questions. We'll do the rest of the 8 later on.
Yeah.
No, I'm just being sarcastic and goofy. Mario's here with me today on the Daily Bend. We're glad to have him. It was a shout out, a call out to see if I had screwed up today's schedule. Well, actually, there was a couple of cancellations, and there was one person that had to move around, and so I didn't have anyone. And all of a sudden, just in like 2 seconds,
yes,
he was there. So
I used my force of the flash to get to him fast.
And he did, and
yes.
I'm very grateful. Thanks for joining me. We're live, obviously, and so no script, nothing going on other than just he and I today. Remember, we're on Periscope right now, but remember, we'll archive these onto YouTube.
Yep. You
can go to the Facebook channel, mine, Beau Babka, and BEAU'D Not Broken, and then also on the web at www.beaudnotbroken.com. So, without further ado, I kind of told you a little bit about framework of what the show was, which there really isn't much.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what people should know about you, and then we'll get into some other good things that you got going.
Well, I'm originally from Minnesota.
Minnesota?
No, I'm kidding. I'm from Chicago. I ended up in Utah a long time ago, and from that day forward, in 2001, I've just been living here, being a filmmaker, and doing other jobs throughout the years. But now I'm just doing it full time, and the good Lord presents me with a lot of options in my life. And it's hard to choose options, but one thing I'm doing right now is I teach a class at Salt Lake Community College under the advisement of Channing Lowe and Mark Davis, friends of mine. Shout out to Slick's film program, it's fantastic.
Slick's
and
awesome.
I love working there. So teaching a class on scheduling and budgeting, which, no disrespect to filmmakers, but sometimes, myself included, we forget about budgeting and scheduling. So I'm the one guy, there's also a class at UVU teaching it, but I'm the one guy in the Utah Valley who's teaching it. Salt Lake Valley, rather.
Right.
So I'm doing that now.
What's your background? What's your background as far as education? Do you have formal education?
Well, yes and no. I've been teaching a long time.
Right.
I used to teach classes at BEAU, which was Broadview Entertainment Arts University. Love BEAU.
They stole my logo. They stole my sheriff's logo.
Right. Yeah. They stole your name too.
Yeah.
So BEAU is where I used to teach, but now I'm teaching at Slick. So that's what I'm doing. I've always kind of just gravitated towards education, teaching youth, or I was at East Hollywood High School as a teacher for a few years. And I run into students and that are still working in the film industry. East Hollywood High School, for those who don't know, is a charter high school, geared kind of focused on film somewhat. And so I keep running into students, and I worked with students 2 weeks ago that I was their teacher years ago. Right. So you got to always remember, you never know what your reach is going to be, and you never know who you're going to touch, and you never know who you're going to meet. I met you on a whim because of Dina Marie. And so you never know who you're going to meet.
Dina Marie's probably
Manzanero. No, she had it. I think she had the baby.
Where have I been?
Dina Marie, congratulations, I think. Gracious. And you just never know who who is going to be an influence in your life. So I'm trying to influence film life at Salt Lake Community, and working in the film industry, of course. I worked on a film last week on the Strawberry Reservoir, Frozen Lake, for 4 days. This film came into town from LA, and
perfect. Frozen Lake.
Yeah. Christian understands, and people who are in the film industry understand every day is a new adventure, because you either have to take a job, or you lost a job, or you got to fill the time. And
I wouldn't know about that. I had too pretty of a face to be on TV.
Well, so there you go. But I have to say, on the back burner,
Are you?
I do act for the series that we're about to talk about, You Again.
Good.
They make me act. I'm a character named Marvin.
Marvin?
Yeah, in the series.
Not Marvin the Martian.
Not Marvin the Martian. You Again, the series, is a Facebook page where we're also going to have a link to the show. And You Again web series, You Again web series on Facebook. You Again web series is a new series a friend of mine created, and a few months ago, and then we just started shooting episodes, and we already have 4 in the can. So we're having an event tonight that kicks off our Indiegogo campaign.
Awesome, awesome.
So that's what I'm doing.
You're fairly familiar with the philosophy of BEAU'D Not Broken, the faith
Yes.
and the courage and the endurance. And my question to you is, you're a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Is there anything that makes for better filmmaking than struggle? And what would be some of your favorite? You probably have many favorite movies and favorite,
right?
Maybe along that kind of that whole genre of
Sure.
struggle and that kind of thing. What would those be?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. There's an older film. It's a cult film. A lot of people haven't seen it, or they've just heard about it and they haven't watched it. It's an older film called Eraserhead.
The Racer?
Or Eraserhead.
Racer.
Eraserhead.
Okay.
David Lynch. Never made a movie before. Took him 5 years to make Eraserhead. Never gave up.
And the preface behind that is?
So I'm not going to get into that because it's a very hard film to explain.
Okay.
But the story goes, and I've heard from his mouth in behind the scenes videos, because you learn a lot from those things, is that him and his friends took 5 years on the weekends of making Eraserhead. They had no money, or they had to scrape together, and it's very similar to today. Mm-hmm. Technology is wonderful. Technology has helped filmmakers make movies. It's true. Mm-hmm. With that said, there's still a struggle. It's always a struggle. You got to find people. Just last night, I tried to help somebody, and she is now realizing it's a struggle. And God bless her. She's a wonderful woman. She just needs to learn the ins and outs, because everything's a struggle. Just getting people together for a couple of hours or on the weekend is a struggle sometimes. Mm-hmm. Getting people to help us with our web series has been a struggle, but we've also gotten very blessed with a lot of people who have helped us and given us their time. It's amazing.
Tell me about the breadth of that struggle. I mean, we were talking before we went on, we were talking about how you'll do transportation with some films,
Absolutely.
but then you're trying to make your own stuff, and then then maybe they call you to do some other bigger job.
Sure.
What have you done? Pretty much everything in the
I don't want to come off any way other than I've done most jobs, not all.
Right.
And I've done most jobs on a film. There are some jobs I just don't do. I'm not really big into post-production and like visual effects. I don't really do that. Mm-hmm. I'd love to make music, but I can't really do that. On set, I've done a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. I've been a grip. I've been a key grip. I've been a production assistant. I've been the director, the producer. First AD, I like that job quite a bit. Most people can't handle that job.
And first AD, for those that...
First assistant director is the guy on set trying to make the day, which means he's the guy on set remind people to be quiet. Mm-hmm. On set, remind people that we have a schedule to keep, remind people that we have an hour before lunch, we got to get these jobs. That's the guy. And it helps not to be yelling and this kind of thing. Some people do, but the way that, I do it is you just try and keep things going. Mm-hmm. He's the project manager for the day. Mm-hmm. That's first assistant director, first AD. But the director's in charge, and the producer's in charge, and the DP's in charge of camera department, and you've got all those people. You got to make them all happy. You got to try and give them what they want. But ultimately, you have to give the director what he wants, which is time if you can. Mm-hmm. So anyway, everybody works together. All the pieces have to fit together, and the first AD is the one trying to put all the pieces together on a 12-hour basis, so you make your day. So that's
and you've
real
been doing
quick.
This for a long time.
It's been a while, yeah. So I moved to Utah in 2001, and I've been busy ever since, off and on. But just recently, I went full time, meaning every month I have to find work, and that's a struggle. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest struggle for me. But I've also been blessed.
Right.
I haven't had to leave yet. Plan B is to leave Utah. I've got a lot of friends who have left Utah. Great actors, great producers, great directors.
What's your mindset with that? Some people,
I don't want to leave.
Some people say, I see the money, when they're trying to make money, or I see the opportunity.
Yeah.
What keeps you in it? What keeps you from getting somewhat, not depressed, but maybe disappointed sometimes? What keeps you from that?
That is a really good question. And I like that question because my answer is there's so many people locally in Utah who are so top of their game that I want to keep working with them, attaining their goals, and ask them when I need to attain my goals. That's what keeps me here.
So it's the quality of people here.
For me.
Really?
And, you know, there's some people, it doesn't work out. You work with them and it doesn't work out. They're still great at their job, and I'm still great at my job. It just doesn't work out.
But there seems to be kind of a steady project. There seems to be steady projects that come forward.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In Utah,
I don't think people realize what not a mecca, but I guess you can use that word. Well, what kind of a draw Utah is to a lot of different things.
The way I put it, and the way that what I think you mean is, it's more consistent. There's more work here consistently than people think there is. Oh. Because it didn't used to be that way. It's been getting better every year, in my opinion, from what I've seen. There's Park City Film Studios, and Blood and Oil was here last year. That didn't work out, but at least it was here. We got a feater in there now.
What was Blood and Oil going against?
That's a long story.
Two big shows or something.
Blood and Oil had a lot against it, but there was good people trying to make it happen. Yeah. And it happened for 10 episodes, and it happened for 5 months, and 6 months, and a lot of people got a lot of work out of it.
Sure helps the economy.
It was a great experience. It helped the economy. There's another movie in there now, so if you've heard the rumors, they aren't true. There's another feature in Park City Film Studios. It's still around. It's still going. Marshall Moore is keeping it alive. Great film commissioner. He was the film commissioner. Passed off to another lady who's done a great job as well. So there's so much going on here. There's so many people trying to bring big stuff here. But there's plenty of the independent stuff here, and that's not a bad thing. There's a lot of commercials here. People
What do you do during Sundance time?
During Sundance, I work like lounges, that kind of thing, and I also work for Slam Dance. Accident that I wore this today. Slam Dance is where I work for them.
When I played football, is Slam Dance.
There you go.
I like to do that. So is that a good company?
Slam Dance is an amazing film festival that runs the exact same week, 10 days as Sundance. See, a lot of people don't realize that.
Oh, okay.
Slam Dance Film Festival has been running for 23 years. Going on this year, it's 23. Or you know what I mean. The next 2017 will be 23, I believe, years. Slam Dance Film Festival is amazing, and they are basically allowed, and they are able to coexist at the exact same time frame as Sundance. So what I'm saying is two different entities doing the same thing. Slam Dance is just smaller.
So independent filmmakers.
Independent film. It's independent filmmakers. Every year they're making stuff too. So independent filmmakers are running Slam Dance.
Oh, okay.
Bunch of great guys over there, and great people. And they all work on film festivals throughout the year. And then they come and do their 10-day a month with Slam Dance. And I love working for them. They're great people. So Slam Dance Film Festival is worth a look for any independent film.
Awesome. Highs and lows. Up till now, what's been like, if you standing on the hill, maybe a great accomplishment or a great thing to work with or for, and maybe the lowest.
Oh, geez.
Without giving a lot of information.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get too detailed on this one. So I think a high for me was producing a movie and co-directing a movie with my friend Jason Velasco. We made a movie called Friend Request 3 years ago with a bunch of great Utahns. And it was mostly Utahns. But Anthony Michael Hall from Breakfast Club and The Dead Zone and Batman, The Dark Knight, he came onto our picture along with Richard Reilly and Marty Cove. And Richard Reilly was in Office Space. Marty Cove was in Karate Kid trilogy. Okay. So we just worked with a bunch of great people in that picture. So that was a high.
He's a good guy, huh? Michael Anthony Hall.
Anthony Michael Hall was great.
I had a part with him on Touched by an Angel one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he's been around
Michael's
for a long time.
Michael's been going a long time.
I just remember him saying the Physics Club,
Yeah, he had a good comeback.
Yeah.
Really good comeback.
Yeah, and he was great to work with, and he still works. He was just in, I wasn't a very big role, but he did a great job in Foxcatcher 2 years ago or whatever. So we were very pleased and blessed to get him.
Yeah, he's better with age.
Yeah, he's gotten great. Yeah, he's great. And it was wonderful having him on the show. We learned a lot from him. And anyway, that was probably a high. Okay. The lows, I can't get too specific, other than I work with some people and I get disappointed because there are some people who just aren't. It's not about technicality. It's not about technical. It's about attitude. People, especially filmmakers, are their own worst enemies. It's corny, but it's true. I've seen so many projects, some I've been a part of, get destroyed by the one person who wants it to be fulfilled. So they're putting the pieces together, and then they forget to put themselves into the picture, or they leave a piece of the puzzle out, and it all falls apart, or the puzzle can't be completed.
Right.
So that's my analogy. It's a big puzzle. That's all films are.
Well,
TV and film, same thing. It's all a puzzle, and everybody's got to put their little piece in. And if you don't put your piece in, or you're like holding on to your piece and say, "I'm not gonna put my piece in the puzzle," well, then how can the thing get done? You can't. You need all the pieces to fit together.
Yeah. Then
you get your picture, and it's pretty, and everyone says, "Yay!" Right?
Well, that's exactly what we talk about. We talk about attitude. This show's all about attitude. So I'm glad you shared that.
And what about you? Have you gone through personal trials? Forget film for a second.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
What drives you that way? Like what's your history?
That's another good question. So I tend to think that there are so many people, probably in the millions, who've had more struggles than me. But whatever struggles I've had the support group's been...
Yes, but we can all learn from those struggles. That's why you're here too.
That's true. So in regards to my life, I feel like I've been very blessed. I have a son. I'm no longer married, but I have a son. Mm-hmm. He's amazing. So I look at him and I go, whatever struggles I've been through, I've been able to do something right. I've done a lot right, but I've been able to do one tangible thing right, and that's my son, along with my ex-wife. Mm-hmm. And we've been able to do something together other than, we couldn't do the marriage thing.
Right.
But we do the raising a kid thing, which is hard.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. So he's not as much of a struggle as he could be because we did a lot right. And so that's a tangible of, one struggle's been being a parent, a single parent, and not always being there for my son. So I think a struggle for me is always going to be not being able to be there every day for him. So I see him a lot, and we have a great relationship, I feel. And he's such a smart, great kid. He actually cares. 14.
Oh,
so he's he's already past that age of, he's chosen to care about this world and give a crap about what's going on in this world. And he takes a stand when somebody tells a racist joke at school. And he struggles. He struggles with kids who are rude. He struggles with kids who don't have ideals or don't seem like they care about this world we live in. And my son's very, very in tune with how he cares about this world. And so that's amazing that happened. We don't know when that happened. So it's a struggle. It's I know the struggles some of the struggles he's going through. Just being a kid in school today is hard. So I'm kind of glad I'm not a kid these days, because I'm a little older than that. But I think all life's a struggle, just like you said. And so I just try and teach my son the right things. I think a struggle for me is trying to teach him to do the right things, and then all around him people are doing the wrong thing. So that's a struggle. So that's hard.
So if you had to say your number one worst moment, like in time, like where you were bowed to where you thought you were broken,
okay.
What would that be? How deep can you get into it?
Well, not too much, but a little bit. So I almost left Utah. When my marriage fell apart and I felt like I was like, I don't know about depression, but it sure was defeat. Yeah, my family said, just forget Utah. What else could be? They didn't ask these questions, but I mean, it's basically why stay,
choir.
right?
Yeah.
There's the tabernacle. No, why stay? Because then my answer always fell back to there's only one reason to stay. Back then, this was 10 years ago.
Right.
But I stayed, which is one decision that I don't regret in life. So that was the turning point. I could have just left and none of this would have happened. Other things would have happened. Maybe I would have gotten depressed. Maybe I would have fallen away. Because without my son in my life, no way. So I had to stay. But the choice was there. I could have left and just been like, oh well, my son will just, have to live without a father. And that doesn't work.
And work fell in place or things fell in place. And
I've done a lot of I've worked a lot of great places in Utah. And great experiences. But film is where I'm at, That's what I need to be doing. So I have to make it work. And it's a struggle.
Any other follow-up there, sidekick?
No, I was curious because I just met you.
Yeah.
So please tell us about what's going on tonight.
In a few hours.
And what you're up to generally.
Sure. In a few hours, I'll be at Broovies with my cast and crew of the TV show, web series, You Again. You Again, created by Andrea Peterson, friend of mine. And she created this series, and then within a few days of creating it, she had scripts. And then I was one of the first to read the scripts. And I was blown away at how concise they were, simple, attainable, and realistic they were to film. So we shot our pilot in December, and we're showing the pilot tonight just as a pre-screening. It's not to the masses. It's not going on YouTube until June. Mm-hmm. But the pilot, the only place to see the pilot for You Again is tonight at Broovies. Doors open at 7.
Let's do it, Bo.
$10.
Go.
I think I've got 2, so there'll be 2 people there. You guys.
There'll be 2.
And we have a bunch of raffle stuff, and one of which being wristbands for Thursday, a FanX. And we're going to be at FanX promoting the show and the campaign. But I want to give a shout out to Dan Farr Productions and FanX, Salt Lake Comic-Con FanX, for wristbands.
We got to get Dan on here too.
Yeah, Dan would be great.
Dan was a great
guy.
Tell us a little bit about the premise of what you're doing on this.
Sure. The premise is it's a comedy series about a girl named Audra who shows up 2 o'clock in the morning to her ex-boyfriend's apartment and says, I need a place to crash. And it takes him about 5 minutes, then he decides, okay, you can come in and crash. But from then on, the series is about their adventures and just funny things that happen, how they met. So the whole thing is 12 episodes. We've got 4 in the can. We're about to shoot Sunday, episode 5. And then we're going to keep going. But we need to do this campaign for Indiegogo to be able to pay crew and whatnot, of course. Because all the people on the cast and crew are all professionals. At some point, they've all been paid to be actors, to be directors of photography, grips, gaffers. All jobs are done by professionals who are, at the present time, giving of their time to make this thing happen. So what people will see tonight is the pilot and Gremlins, of course. We're showing Gremlins. There's a tie-in with Gremlins once you see the second episode. There's a tie-in to Gremlins. It's a geek show. That's why FanX and Dan Farr Productions are very supportive of the show. There's a geek element to it. One of the characters, the ex-boyfriend Xander, who lets the girl stay in reluctantly, he works at a comic book / video game store, and he's a big geek. The character's a big geek. So there's all these geek tie-ins, and like I said, Audra wears a Gremlins shirt in episode 2. I just spoiled it. So there's the tie-in to Gremlins. Anyway, we're showing Gremlins.
I haven't seen Gremlins for a long time.
Yeah, you gotta come. We're gonna show the pilot, obviously. We're gonna do the raffle. We're also doing sci-fi speed dating, I think. And showing Gremlins. So there's a lot going on. So it's $10 to get in for the pilot and the movie, of course. $1 for raffles and chance to win FanX Thursday. Wristbands, just Thursday. And we got a bunch of other stuff we're raffling off. Squatters, gift cards. I think I'm going to have surprise envelopes with you don't know how much cash is in it. So, there's all kinds of fun stuff we're raffling. $1 raffle. And T-shirts are being sold.
Awesome.
So the series, we've got a lot of fans so far. We want more.
They can
Broovies.
Go to Broovies tonight.
Yes, sir.
And then
Start
I guess
the campaign.
we'll not talk about anything after that because we want them to show up at Broovies tonight, right? Because if there's anything else you want to plug,
there's not a lot of time for anyone to fly into Utah for that either.
No,
sorry.
there isn't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful that I was able to even talk about it today, so I appreciate the chance.
No, anytime.
And Andrea Peterson, the main writer and creator of the show, was on K-Talk this morning.
Oh. So
there's also a link on our You Again web series Facebook page. There's also a link to that interview that was Kate Allen's K-Talk show.
Oh, okay.
So that link is on our Facebook page. This link will be on the Facebook page. And then the event's at 7 o'clock at Broovies.
Awesome.
Nice.
In Salt Lake.
Anything else?
Not
I
for me.
appreciate you coming.
Thank
you. I really
you.
do. Is there anything you want to add to everything that's happened now that we've drilled you with the light? We pulled the light over.
Oh, you're fine.
Get everything out of you.
Yes, I have one thing to add. Never give up, never surrender.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Thanks for watching today, BEAU'D Not Broken's Daily Bend. Mario's been great. I'm glad he was here today to answer the old call of duty. So appreciate you watching. Hope tomorrow we have a show. I'm sure we'll have a guest ready to go. No, we do. We have a friend of mine. I think that you'll get. I have the utmost respect for this gentleman that's going to be on tomorrow. A former military person, a guy that's just been a leader for most of his life. And so, anyway, he's going to talk about his bowed, not broken abilities and disabilities to us tomorrow. So join us tomorrow. I think we're going to be around 11:30, 12 o'clock tomorrow. So take care and have a great day. Remember, it's all about the Bend. Thanks, man.